Summer's supposed to be here. It's raining outside, but it's supposed to be here. So I have 5 books that you might want to read this summer. Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk about 5 thrillers that I think would make perfect summer reads. So I'm not going to have too much preamble of some thrillers, some horrors. I'm just going to crack on with them. The first book that I think would make a perfect summer read is this one, The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty. This is a domestic thriller, however I would say it's a very, very soft thriller in that it is not very scary, it's not going to keep you up at night, and it sort of focuses more on people's relationships and things rather than the actual thriller element of it. So I think it would be a perfect read if you're not too into thrillers or you're just fancying a little bit of a break, because sometimes thrillers can be a bit meaty, can't they? So if you're on a sort of a nice summery holiday, you might not want something too dark. So this is about Celia Fitzpatrick, who is doing her usual sort of chores around the house, and she discovers a letter from her husband that is to be opened in the event of his death. However, her husband is very much alive when she discovers this letter, and in true thriller style, it unlocks a series of events that can't be undone. So the reason that I think this will make a great summer read is because, as I've said previously, it is relatively safe, yet it still delivers that sort of typical element of excitement that you get when you read a thriller book, but keeps it sort of light. It's also told from several different point of views, and so the chapters are quite short, quite easy to read, and it would make a perfect beach read for that reason. The next book that I've got for you is a suspense horror, and it is this one, TheThree by Sarah Lotz. I love this book, and it is a slightly Marmite choice. People tend to really like it or really dislike it, and the reviews on both sides tend to be quite strong. I love this, I think it's brilliant. So the synopsis is 4 planes crash simultaneously across the globe, and in 3 of the 4 cases there are 3 survivors, 3 children. But the children who survive are changed from their experience. They are slightly sinister, and there is something just unusual about the 3 children who are left. And this story is told through sort of chat manuscripts and interviews, reports, therapy sessions, things like that, and it's just, in the way that it is told, it is sort of, it feels like unfolding media coverage. So if this event really happened, it sort of feels like the way that we would actually find out about what was happening. For me, it was very, very Moorish. I couldn't put it down, and I really, really loved it. As I've said, it isn't for everyone, but I love the horror element, and it went to places that I wasn't expecting. I didn't see it coming, and I really enjoyed it. The next book that I've got for you is a thriller, and I have a proof copy of it, but it has a different cover. It's called The Good Friend, and this is by Joe Baldwin, but obviously this is a proof copy, so I've got a different cover to what you'll find in the shops. I will say that this is sort of a thriller where not a lot happens. It's sort of very slow burner, but it's very evocative, and it's all set in the rural French countryside. It is about Jenny, who moved to Australia to pursue a swimming career, and her best friend Kath, who she left behind in the UK. But after a glittering career, Jenny wants to reconnect with Kath because they were very, very good friends. And so she does. She gets back in contact with her, and Kath is now living in the rural French countryside. And so Jenny decides to go visit Kath, and the dynamics between the 2 women is very interesting. It's got a sort of a underlying current of sort of frenemy about it. It puts me in mind of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, where you've got sort of an undercurrent running that no one else can see except the people who are really sort of in this relationship. It puts me in the mind of sort of female relationships in high school, and there is always one, isn't there, where there's one girl in a group where she is just slightly poisonous, and you're never sure whether her compliments are genuine, you're never sure whether she's insulting you or whether she's serious in what she's saying, and it's always that sort of case where things are so cleverly done that you can't actually pinpoint what has been said to you. You just know that you feel a bit uncomfortable, and that's what this book puts me in mind of, and I find it a very interesting read. And I think with the sort of the summery setting and all of the fields of lavender and the beautiful rural French countryside, I think it would make a really good summer read. The next book to stick on your summer reading list is this one, Your Guilty Secret by Rebecca Thornton. This is a book that wasn't what I was expecting it to be, but I loved it. Your Guilty Secret follows Lara King, a very well-known celebrity, very famous, from the UK but living in LA, and her whole life is sort of in the spotlight. So we all know her husband, we know her daughter, we know her struggles. She's sort of what I would imagine a Kardashian character being, sort of very well known, very in the public eye, and everybody sort of follows her Instagram and wants to see what she's wearing, what she's doing, where she's taking her daughter, and so that's Lara King. But one day, Lara King's life is turned upside down when her daughter, 6-year-old Ava, disappears. And obviously there is an unravelling, and as the police start to investigate, Lara's life starts to be threatened with unravelling because Lara is hiding some secrets, and we have to wonder at what lengths Lara will go to keep those secrets hidden. And this is an excellent portrayal of the dark side of fame, social media and celebrity culture. I thought this was brilliantly done. It wasn't what I was expecting and I loved it. The final book that I've got is a complete wild card, and I'll explain why in a minute, but it is Richard Lehmann's Island. Now the reason that this is such a wild card is because Richard Lehmann books are very hit and miss. They sort of hit a decent balance between horror, making you terrified, making you disgusted, because Lehmann touches on things that not a lot of authors do, and he's got a talent for the sick and the warped, and you do have to wonder about the mind of the man who writes these books. However, the misses are appalling. Some of the books that Lehmann has penned have been very poorly written. They are just too gore-tastic, and also they seem to have a lot of sort of shock porn. That being said, all of Richard Lehmann's horrors tend to be extremely sexualized, and he combines sex and violence in every single one of his books to the point where a lot of his characters I think can be quite unbelievable, and especially his female characters. I hate the way that Lehmann writes women characters. We have a woman who invariably is sexually assaulted, because all of Lehmann's books tend to heavily feature rape and sexual assault, so if that's a trigger for you, don't read Lehmann's books. But the female characters will invariably have been sexually assaulted, and yet a page or two later they're lusting after a lead male character, and it's unbelievable. However, I stick with Lehmann books because the horror element of them are really good, and if you get a good one like Island, the scary moments in it are genuinely scary. Lehmann tends to be one of those stereotypical 70s male writers that write sentences such as "she boobed boobily along the corridor." It focuses a lot on the glistening breasts and the taut round buttocks of a female character. But if you can get past that, which I can, the horror elements are pretty good, and Island is no different. So this is about a cast of characters who are going on a boat trip around the Bahamas, and they're planning on sunning, swimming, enjoying their life, and they do not plan on what happens in that they end up shipwrecked on an island with no way to contact the outside world. As you can probably guess, there's a lot of perving going on and a lot of unsavoury choices, but there's also an element of danger hiding within the island, and I love this book. So let me know if you've read any of those, if you're going to read any of them, and let me know if you've tried any Lehmann, because I haven't met many people who've tried a Lehmann book and got on with it. People tend to be sort of put off straight away by A, the dodgy writing styles, and B, the dodgy violence with sex scenes that we have. But let me know if you've got on with them, and if you've actually enjoyed any Lehmann books, because I'd like to be a fellow Lehmann fan. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.